That sound is just to remind you what life is like. So we are reading every evening from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 29. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is the chapter entitled Krishna and the Gopis Meet. Kamam krodam bhayam sneham aikyam soridame vacha nityam haro vidadato yanti tanmayatam hite. Translation. Persons who constantly direct their lust, anger, fear, protective affection, feeling of impersonal oneness or friendship toward Lord Hari are sure to become absorbed in thought of Him. Purport. Lord Krishna is pure spiritual existence, and those who somehow or other become attached to Him, absorbed in thoughts of Him, rise to the spiritual platform. This is the absolute nature of the Lord's personal association. With this verse, Sukadeva Goswami answers King Parikshit's question about the Gopis. After all, Sukadeva has begun to narrate Krishna's most intimate pastimes, the rasa dance, and Parikshit is cooperating to remove the doubts of others who are hearing, or who in the future may hear this astonishing story. Srila Madhva Acharya has quoted a statement from the Skanda Purana that emphatically declares persons like the Gopis to be liberated souls, beyond the pale of material illusion. Bhaktya hi nitya kamitvam natu muktim vina bhavet atha kamittaya vapi muktir bhakti matam haro. Eternal conjugal attraction to Krishna, expressed in pure devotional service, cannot develop in one who is not already liberated. Thus, those who are devoted to Lord Hari, even in conjugal attraction, are already liberated. This again is to reaffirm the transcendental position of the Gopis, lest anyone should think that the Gopis' loving mood to Krishna is in any way tinged by the material conception of lust. The great commentators on the Bhagavatam, such as Madhvacharya, have found very explicit verses from different Puranas and Vedic texts to show how the Gopis are liberated. Here he has quoted one verse to show that anyone who has developed conjugal feelings for Krishna must be in a liberated position. Because ordinary conjugal feelings or sex life will not be reposed on Krishna. It is a quite common affair to see the sex attraction. It doesn't require any introduction. Prabhupada says that although there is need of education for various subject matters, there's no need of education for sex life. It is therefore very surprising to see that the modern educational field is so concerned about sex education. Because without any need of sex education, people are already are already expert in this enough. No one needs to show. The animals, even, who are much less intelligent than human beings, they know very well how to have sex life. So human beings also are expert. So when we see the attraction between man and woman in this world, this is conducted under the modes of material nature. And it is described that this sex life is the root cause of attachment to material existence. we are revolving in the cycle of birth and death through so many different species of life only on account of our inability to give up this great attraction to sex life. So Vedic culture means to regulate the senses and the mind. That's the difference between human and animals, that humans can regulate their activities of eating and sleeping, mating and defending. Unfortunately, the present human population has degraded lower than animals, because animals have an ability to know when enough is enough. There's no report anywhere, for example, of an animal dying of indigestion due to overeating. But human beings do it all the time. Animals have mating seasons when they are particularly active sexually. But human beings have open season, anytime, anywhere, with anyone. No distinction, no discrimination. So, to compare this abominable lustiness to Krishna and the Gopis is a great offense. And therefore, the commentators on the Bhagavatam are taking great pain to make it clear to anyone who hears this narration before the rasa dance is going to be discussed. They want to make it very clear that Krishna and the Gopis are completely transcendental personalities, so that no one will misunderstand. Srila Madhvacharya then quotes from the Padma Purana to clarify the essential point, that one cannot be liberated simply by lusting after Lord Krishna, but rather only by possessing conjugal attraction in pure devotional service. And this is a very nice distinction he's making. That just because you're lusty for Krishna is not in itself the guarantee of liberation. But this lustiness has to be done in pure devotional service. Yesterday we discussed this point, that the Gopis were already advanced devotees. They already had performed, or they were already beyond the stage of any sadhana bhakti. They were the most exalted devotees. And therefore, their conclusion was that the best way to please Krishna was by conjugal dealings. It is not that they could not help themselves. That may be, but it was the result of a service attitude or service spirit. Ordinary sex life is different, because sex life is selfish. One does not think of others. One thinks of one's own pleasure, and that is called lust. But the Gopis, on the other hand, did not care about their own personal position of pleasure. Their only thought was how to give pleasure to Krishna. Therefore, this is a service spirit. Just like when Krishna had a headache, and the only thing that could cure it was the dust of the feet of his devotees. So where were they going to find dust from the feet of Krishna's devotees? The only place they could go was to the Gopis. The Gopis were the only ones who were willing to give any relief to Krishna. Why were other people unwilling? Because they said, we cannot offer dust from our feet. If we put the dust of our feet on Krishna's head, we'll go to hell. The Gopis, on the other hand, they said, we don't care if we go to hell. We don't care what happens to us. If Krishna is relieved, if Krishna is served, that is our only satisfaction. So they had a perfect service spirit. And they were able to give Krishna the highest pleasure through their specific relationship in conjugal love. So it is a service mood, which is the main point in the Gopis' feelings. So here's the quote which Madhvacharya has found from the Padma Purana. Sneha bhakta sada deva kamit venapsara striya kaschit kaschin nakamena bhaktya kevala yaivatu. The demigods are always affectionately devoted to the Lord. And the young ladies of heaven, called apsaras, have lusty feelings toward him, although some of them have pure devotion to him untainted by material lust. Only these latter apsaras are ready for liberation, because without bona fide devotional service, one cannot possibly achieve liberation. Thus, devotional service is not yogyam, or appropriate, unless free from material lust. One should not take cheaply the Gopis' achievement of personal association with Lord Krishna in a conjugal relationship. To show the gravity of direct relationship with the Lord, Srila Madhvacharya has quoted the following verses from Varaha Purana. Patit Vena Shriyopasyo Brahmana Me Pitahi Yacha Pitamahat Tayanyesham Tridashanam Janardanaha. The goddess Lakshmi worships Lord Janardana as her husband. Lord Brahma worships him as his father, and the other demigods worship him as their grandfather. Prapitamaho me Bhagavan iti sarva janasyatu Guru Sri Brahmano Vishnu Suranam cha Guror Guru. Thus people in general should think, the Supreme Lord is my great-grandfather. Lord Vishnu is the spiritual master of Brahma, and thus the guru of the demigods. Gurur Brahmasya Jagato Daivam Vishnu Sanatanaha Iti Evo Pashananam Karyam Nanyatatu Katanchanaha. Brahma is the spiritual master of the universe, and Vishnu is the eternally worshipable deity. With this understanding, and not otherwise, one should worship the Lord. The above injunctions apply to Sarva Jana, all people in general. Thus, one should follow these injunctions until one achieves the exalted platform of intimate relationship with the Supreme Lord. There is abundant evidence that the Gopis of Vrindavan were highly elevated, liberated souls, and thus their pastimes with Krishna are pure spiritual affairs. Keeping this in mind, we can truly understand this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nachaivam Vishmaya Karyo Bhavata Bhagavati Ajay Yogeshvareshware Krishne Yata Etar Vimuchyate. You should not be so astonished by Krishna, the unborn master of all masters of mystic power, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After all, it is the Lord who liberates this world. Purport. Parikshit Maharaj should not have been so astonished that Lord Krishna's so-called romantic affairs are in fact meant to liberate the entire universe. After all, that is the Lord's purpose, to bring all conditioned souls back to Godhead for an eternal life of bliss and knowledge. The Lord's conjugal affairs with the Gopis fit in very nicely with that program, because we, who are actually lusty in material consciousness, can be purified and liberated by hearing of them. In the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1.5.33, Narad Muni states, Amayo yas chabhutanam jayate yena subrataha tat eva hi as amayam dravyam napunati chikitsitum. O good soul, does not a thing applied therapeutically cure a disease that was caused by that very same thing? Thus Krishna's romantic affairs, being pure spiritual activities, will cure those who hear about them of the disease of material lust. This is a very nice example. Just like we see the example of sometimes drinking too much milk, it upsets the stomach. So when the stomach becomes upset by drinking too much milk, what is the solution? One of the solutions is you take some dahi. Actually, dahi is another type of milk product. So although your problem has been caused by one type of milk, by the milk, another type of milk product, it cures the disease. In the same way, the spiritual disease is that we are too much attached to lusty sex desire. And yet here we see that the cure for the disease is another type of sex, which is the relationship between Krishna and the Gopis. This example is given. The very thing which is the cause of the disease can also become the cure if it is therapeutically applied. So, therefore Prabhupada says in the introduction to Krishna book, chapter on the Rasa dance, Prabhupada comments that, and in the introduction itself, that people are very lusty in this age, but simply by hearing about Krishna's dealing with the Gopis, gradually their lusty desire will become satisfied. So, nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nitam bhagavata sevaya. Regular hearing. Bhagavati uttama bhakti bhavati naishtiki. Regular hearing and presence at the Bhagavatam class will actually satisfy the heart. Ta dristvantikam atyata bhagavan vraja yoshitaha avadat vadatam shristo vacha peshayar vimohayan. Seeing that the girls of Braja had arrived, Lord Krishna, the best of speakers, greeted them with charming words that bewildered their minds. Purport. Having established the spiritual nature of the Gopis' love for Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami proceeds with his narration. Shri Bhagavan uvacha svagatam vo mahabhaga priyam kim karavaniva brajasyana mayam kachit brutagama nakaranam. Lord Krishna said, O most fortunate ladies, welcome. What may I do to please you? Is everything well in Braja? Please tell me the reason for your coming here. Purport. Lord Krishna knew perfectly well why the gopis had come. In fact, he had called them with the romantic melodies of his flute. So Krishna was simply teasing the gopis by asking them, why have you come here so quickly? Is something wrong in town? Why have you come here? Anyway, what do you want? The gopis were Krishna's young lovers, and therefore these questions certainly bewildered them, for they had responded to Krishna's call with the simple mentality of enjoying conjugal love with him. Rajaniyesha Gauda Rupa Gauda Sattva Nishetpita Pratiyata Vrajam Neha Shteham Stribisu Madhyamaha. This night is quite frightening, and frightening creatures are lurking about. Return to Braja, slender-waisted girls. This is not a proper place for women. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written the following charming commentary on this verse. Quotes. The gopis thought, alas, alas, even after shattering our family responsibilities, our sobriety, and our shame, and enjoying us day after day, and after now dragging us here by the sound of his flute, he is asking us why we have come. As the gopis cast sidelong glances at one another, the Lord said, if you try to tell me that you have come to get night-blooming flowers to use in the worship of God, and that it is these flowers you are looking at with your sidelong glances, I will have to reject your excuse as unacceptable, since neither the time, place, nor persons involved are appropriate. This is the Lord's meaning in this verse, beginning, Rajhani. Some seat to sit up. He might have said, even though there is abundant moonlight, this time of night is very fearsome, because many snakes, scorpions, and other dangerous creatures, too small for you to see, are lying beneath the creeper's roots and twigs. Therefore, this time is unsuitable for gathering flowers. And not only the time, but also this place is unsuitable for you to gather flowers, because at night, terrible creatures such as tigers are abroad here. Therefore, you should go back to Braja. But, the gopis may object, let us just rest for a few minutes, and then we will go. Then the Lord might reply, women shouldn't remain in this kind of place. In other words, because of the time and place, it is wrong for persons like yourselves to stay here even for a moment. Furthermore, by the word sumadhyamaha, O slender-waisted ones, the Lord implied, you are beautiful young girls, and I am a beautiful young boy, because you are all very chaste, and I am a brahmachari, as confirmed by the words Krishno brahmachari in the Shruti Gopalatapani Upanishad. There should be no fault in our being in the same place. Nonetheless, the mind can never be trusted, neither yours nor my own. The Lord's inner eagerness, thus hinted at, is obvious if we read his words between the lines as follows. If out of shyness you cannot tell me the reason you've come, then don't speak. I already know it anyway, so just listen as I tell it to you. Thus the Lord speaks the words beginning Rajani. The following statement by Krishna is based on an alternative meaning of the verse derived when the Sanskrit words are separated in a different way. The alternative separation, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, would be Rajani Esha Agora Rupa Agora Sattva Ne Shevita Pratiyata Brajam Na Ihas Deham Stivi Sumandya Maha. You can see how transcendentally intelligent Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is. First of all, he is penetrating the minds of Krishna and the Gopis and filling in so many other statements which they are making. All of these are his realization in transcendental ecstasy that he is sharing with us. And now, as a great scholar, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is taking the original shloka, and because Sanskrit words are such that you can draw many meanings according to how you divide the different syllables, he has rewritten the verse with the same words but dividing them in different ways. Through Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary, Krishna now explains the meaning of this division of words. He's making Krishna explain the new verse himself. The pervasive moonshine has made this night appear not at all fearsome, and therefore this forest is populated by harmless creatures such as deer, agora sattvai, or else by animals such as tigers that are harmless because of Vrindavan's naturally non-violent atmosphere. Consequently, this night should not frighten you. Now he's given the opposite meaning. First, Krishna said to the Gopis, you shouldn't stay here. This is a very fearful place. There are so many wild animals that may be lurking in the forest. Besides, you are young girls and I am a young boy, so people will talk. So you better go home. But actually, Krishna didn't mean that. So now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has taken this sloka and divided it in another way to show that actually there's nothing to worry about in Vrindavan because all the animals are Krishna conscious and there's no reason to fear. Or else Krishna may have meant, you should not be afraid of your own husbands and other relatives, because the night being populated by fearsome animals, they will not come near this place. Therefore, please do not go back to Braja, na yatha, but stay here in my company, iha stayam. The Gopis may ask the Lord, how are you staying here? The Lord answers, with women. Then they say, but are you satisfied to keep just any women in your company? The Lord replies to this with the word sumandya maha, meaning only women who are young and beautiful who have slender waists, namely yourselves, should stay here with me and not others. Thus, we can appreciate that Krishna's statements are full of considerate as well as neglectful sentiments. Krishna's words are certainly brilliant, because according to the rules of Sanskrit grammar, they may be understood in either of two opposite ways. In the first case, as translated above, Lord Krishna continues to tease the Gopis by telling them the night is dangerous and inauspicious and that they should go home. But Krishna is simultaneously saying exactly the opposite, namely, that there is absolutely no reason for the Gopis to fear coming to the Lord, that the night is quite auspicious and that the girls should under no circumstances go back home. Thus, Lord Krishna simultaneously teases and enchants the Gopis with his words.
Matara pitara putra purattara patayaschava vinchinvandi yapasyanto makridvam bandhu sadvasham. Not finding you at home, your mothers, fathers, sons, brothers, and husbands are certainly searching for you. Don't cause anxiety for your family members. Dristam vanam kusumitam rakesha kararanjitam Kumana lila lilaijat taru palavaso vitam tadyatama chiram goshtam sushushadvam pati satihi krandanti vatsavalascha tanpayayata duyata. Now you have seen this Vrindavan forest full of flowers and resplendent with the light of the full moon.
You have seen the beauty of the trees with their leaves trembling in the gentle breeze coming from the Yamuna. So now, go back to the cowherd village. Don't delay. O chaste ladies, serve your husbands and give milk to your crying babies and calves. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further explains this as follows. Lord Krishna says, therefore, don't wait a long time before going, but go immediately. The word sati means that the gopis are loyal to their husbands. Therefore, Krishna indicates that the gopis should serve their husbands so the latter can accomplish their religious duties, and that the gopis should also be considered worshipable because of their chastity. All this Krishna says to the gopis who are married. And now, to the unmarried girls he says, the calves are crying, so see to it that they get milk. To the Munichari gopis he says, your babies are crying, so feed them milk. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further reveals the hidden meaning of these two verses as follows. In text 21, Krishna might have said, this Vrindavan is the very best of places. And moreover, this is full moon night. Furthermore, we have the Yamuna on all sides, and there are cool, gentle, fragrant breezes blowing. These are all transcendental opulences that stimulate loving exchanges. And since I am also here as the foremost ecstatic opulence, the object of love, let us now test how much expertise you can show in relishing rasas. In text 22, he means to say, thus, for a long time, for the entire duration of this night, don't leave, but rather stay here and enjoy with me. Don't go serve your husbands and the gentle women, your mothers-in-law, and so forth. It would not be fitting for you to waste such beauty and youth, which are gifts of the Creator, nor should you milk the cows or give milk to the calves and babies. What do you, who are so full of ecstatic attraction for me, have to do with these affairs? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also explains that the gopis could not really be sure exactly what Krishna was doing, whether he was merely joking, inviting them to stay, or instructing them to return home. Thus, as Sri Krishna spoke about the beauty of the forest, the gopis felt embarrassed and bewildered and looked upward at the trees. And as he spoke about the Yamuna, they looked all around at the river. Their absolute purity and simplicity, along with their absolute devotion to Lord Krishna, in the conjugal mood, created the most beautiful pastimes ever exhibited in this universe. So we will stop here. There's time. And tomorrow we have a program, right? In Bay City. We'll be leaving here around 8:30. There will be a morning program. And then tomorrow afternoon is our Sunday program. What time? 5 o'clock. Okay? So we will all leave early this evening. That way you can get up early. Try to come to Mangal Artik if you can. See Krishna and Radharani early in the morning, sing for them. Hare Krishna.